In the last sessions, we reviewed MDG architecture and its relationship to ECC in a system landscape. We also looked at how ABAP WebDyn Pro FPM or Floor Plan Manager is used in MDG. In this session, we will move on to the next technical component. It is the ABAP Dictionary. As any other SAP application, MDG applications use ABAP Dictionary for its persistence. But there is a small difference in the way the MDG tables are created. The MDG application tables are generated from the data model. So MDG framework provides the design environment to create the data model. The data model is created with its entity types, their properties and attributes, and the entity relationships. Once the data model is implemented, the MDG implementer activates the data model. During activation, MDG framework generates the tables and structures in the ABAP Dictionary. Thus, the structures and tables for a given MDG application are generated and stored within ABAP Dictionary. Data modeling in MDG is quite elaborate. We will briefly review the data modeling steps in the next few minutes. The data modeling steps are discussed in the context of rental car implementation. The rental car data model has 6 entity types, 5 relationships, and several attributes. It has just enough complexity to highlight all the important aspects of MDG data modeling. Please review these steps. The data model design or the implementation steps may not make a whole lot of sense at this point, but it will at least give you an idea of the amount of work involved. Soon after this overview, we will resume our discussion of the MDG architecture. These are the design details for ZR data model. These details are documented in the design phase of any MDG project, and it should be available before realization phase starts. In this session, we will briefly review the data model design as well as the data modeling steps. Data model implementation has several distinct steps. The steps are laid out here in a specific sequence. Over the next several sessions, we will discuss the implementation steps as well as the underlying MDG concepts in detail. This session is just to get an overview of where we are headed. We use the data dictionary to create the data elements and domain. In several cases, the data elements already exist in the underlying ERP system and can be reused in MDG. In rental car implementation, all the data elements and domain are manually created. The next set of prerequisites relate to check tables. The check tables are relevant for entity type of storage and usage types 2 and 3. The check tables have to be created and loaded with data. In this data model, we will be loading data for parking types and rental car locations. Now, with the prerequisites in place, rest of the steps are executed within the customizing transaction MDG IMG. Create the data model ZR. Then we create the entities for the data model. Then for each entity, create the corresponding attributes. Next, define relationships between the entities. This will complete data modeling. At this point, save and activate the data model. With activation, MDG framework generates the corresponding structures and tables. So in summary, the overview session showcased the data modeling steps in the context of rental car implementation. Now let me add another perspective to this discussion. Following image shows the same details for the SAP delivered material data model. This is a screenshot of the material data model. Material data model in version 7.0 has 97 entity types. The reason I mentioned the version is because with each additional version, the delivered application became more elaborate in the number of entity types and attributes that it supports. In addition to 97 entity types, there are a total of 163 relationships between these entity types. Stepping back, all of this configuration was created within the data modeling customizing node in MDG IMG. The data modeling helped us create the data model with its entity types, attributes, and relationships. But the end goal of this exercise is to create the transparent tables and supporting data structures in ABAP Dictionary. As discussed earlier, this happens when the data model is activated. In other words, when we click on Activate, MDG framework communicates with ABAP Dictionary to create these underlying tables and structures. Again, these videos are brought to you by mdgelearning.com. Please visit the site and contact us about MDG system access as well. Any system access recommended by us is for educational purposes only. In the next session, we will look at SAP Business Workflow and how MDG framework uses it.